What's up, everyone? It's been a while. Hope you guys are all doing well. I'm sorry for the lack of videos recently. Before I get into this, I do want to apologize. Not really apologize, offer the explanation. I have been moving. I moved across country, so I'm now on the West Coast. And as you can guess, a move that intense took some time between packing everything, actually traveling out here, staying at a hotel for a couple of weeks until we got our place, settling in, getting everything unpacked, and kind of getting back into the routine of things. I've been busy. I've been very preoccupied. I've been able to stream here and there, but just with settling down and settling in and everything, just been very busy, so I haven't had the chance to really make many videos. But some awesome news for Re Rising dropped, which is always exciting. And so I wanted to cover that and have a chance to kind of walk through that. If you're here for New World content as well, of course, we'll be doing more of that and other MMOs and gaming as a whole. We're going to be getting back into the swing of things, but we're going to start off today by talking about this exciting news for V Rising. So we're gonna hop right into it. Of course, blah blah blah, like and subscribe, blah blah blah, follow on Twitch, all that fun stuff. But without further ado, let's hop into this dev update because there's a lot of good stuff coming for V Rising, which is very exciting. It's been a while since we got a dev. In fact, it has been since October 20th. So almost a month and a half since our last update, and that was for the Blood Feast event. And so we finally have a chance to talk about what's coming, and everyone's excited for the new zone, new mobs, updates, quality of life changes, etc. And they have covered a lot, which both for PvP and PvE and RP and everything. There's a lot of good stuff. So let's hop right into it and enjoy. Firstly, this beautiful image of this terrifying rat arachnid monster, which better be a V blood, of course. But we're gonna hop right into it. They're just gonna cover what they've been working on, and let's get into that. Big warning, of course, at the very beginning here is keep in mind that this is only be some of what they're working on, not everything, and everything is subject to change. So all this could be completely wrong and not actually happen. Realistically, that won't be the case, but as a heads up, obviously subject to change. Of course, first off, the big thing that everyone's been excited about is the fact that they're having multiple castle floors. Now, for those who haven't been able to live with these devlogs, this is something in the community that's been waiting for a while. There's two reasons. One, for the aesthetic fun part, right? Just being able to have an actual looming tower in V Rising is very, if you've ever seen Castlevania, Dracula's castle is this gigantic tower that like branches off and everything. So having that beautiful tower, having floors and levels and everything is going to really add a more complex system in terms of, like they say, a maze of rooms stacked upon another maze of rooms, or certain levels dedicated to certain things. And in terms of PvP, this adds a whole new dynamic of not just pushing through, non-stop, honeycombs and everything, but instead having these layers, and adds a new complexity to fighting, like on the ramps and where you hold and how you push things and how it all works together. And so in that aspect, it's really cool. On the other aspect, it actually really helps a lot in terms of space on the map. A huge problem, especially with default server settings on V Rising, is build space. Because what happens is once you get to a certain number of people, because every building is spread, it goes horizontal and vertical instead of going up, it spreads out across the map, right? And so what ends up happening is, theoretically, with doing vertical building, you can now have a space for 100 castles when before you only had space for 25, right? It allows you to have a lot more castles on the map because building locations are pretty limited on the map because it's not a gigantic map. It's a big map, but it's not gigantic. So it allows a lot more kind of opportunity to have more people on the map and a lot more space and more castles to be made. So super excited about that. Really happy that they're actually going through this as a highly requested thing and they're actually committing. So awesome. And they also go into details about what they kind of categorize as their growing world. Some things are adding or revamping to make the game a bit better. Some small things like quartz deposits, they reskin them. Nothing crazy, but it's cool that they're trying to go and actually bring a bit more life to some of the more that kind of forgettable pieces, maybe. So just adding some more pieces in the world, make it seem more alive. With these new areas of heavy quartz deposits, they actually have a work in progress, a master glassmaker artisan in her shop. Now what that entails, that could be something as in in some way this is a trade, or this is someone you have to go fight, or you're not sure. There's no information beyond that, but they're taking pieces that are kind of underdeveloped and just kind of another resource added to the grind and trying to develop a bit more. So a bit more of that horizontal development, which is never a bad thing for survival games like this. They talked about how they want to make areas more distinct and alive, and so this is one thing they're doing, like making a quartz deposit area and having a master glass maker, making things have a bit more depth to them instead of just another check mark for that zone as you progress, which I enjoy. They also tease here a new V Blood. She looks badass. Clearly some type of necromancer mage. Wouldn't be surprised if she offered, a chaos ability or an the holy ability, depending on everything. Just gives me the vibes of those two. So, but it's cool to see some of these cosmetic or these new not cosmetics, these new V Bloods coming out. Most likely gonna be tied to the new zone, which we'll get to because they do talk about it. And another kind of concept of new foe, though this looks to be Farbane. So I would be surprised that this is a new V-Blood, but maybe just adding more mob variety to the game, which is always cool. But they could also just chosen this location to be able to get a screenshot. But yeah, so potential could be Farbane, could just be a random backdrop. And they're also trying to make changes to the current zones. One concept that they're working on and hoping to introduce is the marketplace, which will be a series of trading stations present throughout the settled zones that serve as hubs for vampires to spend their hard-earned coins. Now, what that means to me, if they're supposed to serve as hubs for vampires, is this is going to be a merchant for vampires, as in you don't have to disguise yourself as a human like you do with the other merchants, which is really interesting. They want to expand trading functionality and adding markets gives options for players to be able to spend their hard-earned coins on the host of ever-changing goods, allowing them to find other avenues for acquiring rare goods. So, like I said, they could be something as simple as gems that haven't been dropping, or something as very complicated as a weapon recipe, or maybe they want drapes. Who doesn't love a good drape? So, it seems to me that this will be a chance that you can use coins to be able to buy resources or schematics or whatever it might be for specific things. Another way of progressing, which when they add a new zone, and all of a sudden, it's 100, or no, it's 2,000 paper, 15,000 scrolls, 20,000 schematics, and then 30,000. The next thing is adding this avenue where you can just go and buy stuff as well is going to help with replayability and just being able to progress smoothly. And also is going to make it interesting for PvP because these could now be hotspots where you try to fight people. You have an actual reason to care about coin again, because coins, just kind of silver coins, just never really was like that cared about. So like, hey, if I kill someone, he's going to the market, I get 200 coins. There's 400 schematics I gotta go buy with his coins, and all of a sudden that was a worthy thing, another spot, another point of interest in the map where people can convene later into the game for PvP, because that was always the issue, right, with a lot of PvP in this game. It's on the fresh start server, you go, everyone's PvPing at Farbane, everyone spreads out, and there's no like main points of interest that draw people back, but there's these marketplaces where people go to, there's more points of interest that you could try and find PvP. And then it's also, in terms of like an RP situation, this could be a cool role-playing spot or like whatever, right? So this is the kind of like non-vertical development, non-vertical progression that you want to see add to games like this, are these hubs and these locations that breathe life into the other developed world to be able to make it more like have more depth, is basically the very broad and horribly articulated point I'm trying to make. But yeah, I think this is super awesome. Now, this is probably the part I'm most excited about. If you guys have been following my V Rising content like at all for a while, I've been talking about wanting something like this for a long time. This is a complexity system for PvP. They're calling it their Jewel system. To improve gameplay depth and combat, you can now find or craft jewels to unlock new perks for their spells, making ability customization even more personal. Jewels will allow players to create stronger combos when pairing spells by allowing you to apply and consume various spell school specific effects into even stronger effects, or triggering explosives, novas, forking projectiles, and more. With the addition of jewels, we are also updating and working on all spell schools. Every school will have a unique effect that is more consistently tied to the school. Blood spells will be able to place a life leech debuff. Unholy will allow you to summon more undead creatures in various ways, and so on. You can expect updates and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to look at this image here. Before we look at it, this is exactly what I wanted. They're making it so there's two things they're adding here, right? They're making it so you have the jewel so you can customize specific spells by consuming things. So if you shoot a chaos volley, if you consume it, instead of just shooting 2 chaos volleys out, maybe it shoots 4 chaos volleys in the arc, right? Or whatever. They're trying to make it so it's a bit more customizable as you can find different combos that you like. Beyond that, it also seems that they're trying to make it so that pairing abilities of the same school will give you different benefits. What I mean by here, this is their kind of work in progress UI that they showed. And the important thing here is you see 1, 2, 3, right? One being consume chill and inflict a 4-second freeze on target. 2, the attack shatters frozen, dealing 50 damage and triggers a nova of 8 splinters, each dealing 20 damage. The nova deals 50 damage to all nearby enemies. Projectile speed increased by 50%. Now, there's 2 options that this is trying to depict. One, this is the jewel thing, where if you use the jewels, you can get these effects. The other thing that I think this is supposed to be is that if you have 3 of the same school, you gain these additional benefits. So if you have 3, if you have the dash, ability 1, ability 2, you get 3 benefits of your projectile speeds on your frost abilities because your 3 is increased by 50%. I don't know if that is what we are supposed to interpret here. If there's a developer who's watching this video, my man Jeremy, if you're there and you can interpret, that would be amazing. Because if that's the case, that makes it interesting of like, hey, I should take 3 chaos abilities if I want the 3rd perk, and then my 4th ability, my dash whatever, could be non-chaos to be able to do that, or whatever it would be, right? I'm not sure how we're supposed to interpret this, but this does add more customization to builds and why you want to take certain things together, and then you add in the jewel, and it's just gonna make builds more interesting, which if you guys watch my V Rising content, I'm huge on builds and V Rising. Make the PvP have more depth, gameplay more depth. This is what I've been begging for the PvP scene for ages now. I'm so happy about this. I'm so excited about this. This is fantastic. So super, super happy about this. Couldn't be happier. And finally, it's coming. Power, knowledge, hidden secrets, the new lands. They're teasing that with these 3 images. This kind of looks like if you kind of TP into the zone, you can force yourself to TP into the new zone right now, and you can kind of see like broken gates and stuff like that. I'm not sure if those are pre-registered models for like these things, but it looks like this area is going to have some form of like electricity. You see like electricity arcing through. This guy kind of has like almost like not steampunk vibe necessarily, but kind of you can see like pipes and everything kind of running through these buildings. So I'm not sure if this is supposed to be kind of give you like Victorian era, early electricity kind of vibes to the new environment, which I don't think many people are expecting. I think a lot of people are expecting very, nomadic, barbarian, Viking vibes based on some of the arts of giants and everything. So this might be the direction they're actually going. Either way, it looks super dope. Obviously, we don't know too much more about this, but hey, new zone, new bosses, more map, more content. Never going to complain about that. So super pumped about that, but they don't give too much, so I'm not going to talk too much. And then they're also talking about some other things that they're working on, just some like quality of life improvements that they're trying to do. So stuff like, just various things. I'll kind of run through, inventory and inventory management within the castle, working on things on making that have a quality of life improvement. They also have like this wish list features things they want to do, like seeing your clock in your coffin, being able to rework servers, how they work in terms of like being allowed like time to pass while you're offline. That way servants can do stuff even if you're not like in the world. Smaller improvements that they want to add, like being able to sit in chairs. Shout out to the guys who know. Turn your lights off and on, name your castle, play signs, and be able to interact with your servants in more casual ways. Also want to add some things like building diversity, secret doors, and passageways. I can't remember if it's here or in another part. They also talk about things like not being able to look through walls of enemy castles. So like in PvP, that's a huge issue, is that people could like just walk up next to your castle and they turn their camera and they could see into it, so they knew where things were, where your traps were, where your servants were, all that stuff. And so taking that away, so you can't like scout enemies' castles by like peering through the wall, stuff like that. A lot of quality of life adjustments. Again, this is like their wish list features, so I wouldn't count on this being necessarily a high priority, but when it does happen, I think this will be, a variety of good quality of life updates. And then they talk about how official servers are going to have to wipe all the content. Expected, not a big deal. I've done 200 wipes at this point, so I don't care about that. But yeah, so that is the update. The devlog is posted in the description if you want to read it for yourself and read every little thing in case I miss anything, but a lot of quality updates. a lot of exciting news that we've just been wanting from this game for a while. I'm super pumped about the jewels. I think a lot of these like zone upgrades and updates with like the courts and the marketplace is really awesome. Obviously, I'm excited about the multiple castle floors. That changes the game with everything about this game. So much is oriented around your castle. So now being able to do that is just gonna be a complete game changer. And yeah, super excited. This was a tease that we've been needing from V Rising from Stunlock for a while now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, January, February, this comes out. If it's anything later than March, I'm gonna be mega disappointed at this point. But also at this point, I'm waiting anyway, so I can wait a little bit longer. But March at the latest is the most I'm willing to give before I go crazy. So hopefully this comes out soon and super exciting. And yeah, I'm also just happy to be able to do a V Rising video. I've been able to do one in a while. So hope you guys enjoyed this content. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you're excited as I am. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video, whatever it may be. And yeah, peace out.